Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. I'm fresh from the gym. Ugh, ugh. Let me stop. Girl, stop it. All right. Forgive me. I still have creatine in my system. I do. I just, I'm saying, I still got free workout in my system. So, all right. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is trying so hard to understand. You're trying so hard to understand something, right? And, it's just one of them things. It's just one of them things, right? You got to go through these different phases, these different chapters that you know, that you're going through. This is just a chapter. Relax, relax, breathe, breathe, breathe. Just breathe it out. Breathe it out. All right, what deck do I want to use? I've been really feeling this green one. I kind of like this one too, to be honest. The rest can go kick rocks for now. Go kick rocks over there. All right, we don't want to have too many decks out because, girl, you ain't got time like that today. Not today, not today, not any day, to be honest. I always don't have time. I always don't. Always. Oh, okay. Okay. I get it. You want those cards in there too. And then one final deck. Do, do, do. Okay. It's a lot of energy, or I could have lifted a lot more. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. Either there's a lot of energy wafting through this space that we're sharing, or I could have lifted a lot more. No, I couldn't. I could have, but I wanted to continue in the healing trajectory that I'm on right now. I didn't want to undo the work that I just very generously received. All right, let's get started. All right. Now we're ready. Thank you guys for the compliments on my glasses. It's hiding a wicked eye infection. let's be honest. Hold on. Un momento. Okay. Right. We're right. Okay. We're ready. Let's see. Trying so hard to understand what is it that's happening that you are trying to understand that, I think what needs to happen is this awareness of how all the things that happen, all the things that you live through are things that you need to live through. Good or bad, these are events and experiences that help you to better understand the trajectory of your life and the gravity of your personal power over yourself, right? So, first card, snitching you out right away. It's not funny. Why are you laughing? This is nervous laughter. This is just nervous laughter. The cards are snitching you out right away. You are upside down in your passion. For whoever this is going to resonate with, you have been holding on to something, I think out of fear. Maybe it's a new thing that you're holding on to because you're processing the current thing or the thing, the event, circumstance that life is already cycling out. So you're holding on to that out of fear of what What's the new thing that's happening? And as you continue to hold on to that, you're not going to be allowed to enter into this new space of existence where you are allowing yourself to move forward from whatever it is that's really kept you in a space of limbo. Now, with that, there's going to be people in your environment that's going to really encourage you to remain in that space of limbo. You have to always, always, always ask yourself this: is the person who is helping me the most, is that the person that I should be allowing to help? Right? And it's not about um necessarily competing, comparing type thing. It's more of needing to take a good hard look at whoever this is, their track record. Do they consistently make decisions that further them? Is it your fear that you listen to? Has your fear and listening to your fear helped you to further yourself in a way that um, gets you to better understand the journey that you're on, right? Because sometimes the person we're listening to is actually the fear based version of ourselves. Other times, the person that we're listening to is an actual individual outside of us, someone who we trust, someone who we might have a history with, right? All of that good stuff. But it might not even be good. Ooh. 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 I'm seeing messages. I'm seeing messages. Hold on. Okay. 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 This. Oh, I circled the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Okay. Sometimes I eat bad. This is my junk. Don't judge me. Or go ahead and judge me. I don't care. I love this shit. Maybe they should sponsor me. I eat it all the time whenever I'm in. And focus, girl, focus. You don't got time for side quests. Okay, here's a message. We'll take it from here. I think your time listening to whatever insecurities or whatever it is that you've been listening to, I think it's done. I think it's done. You need to go wild. Go wild. Go wild AF. It's empty. Because I ate the whole bag. I ate 198 grams of chicken breast and egg whites and bone broth. Some good shit. Protein chips. Does it have shit I can't have? Yeah, sunflower oil is not really the best for you, but I mean, maltodextrin is really not that good for you either. Yeast extract as well. Natural flavors. Oh my God. That's what it is. That's why it tastes so good. Natural flavors. It's beaver ass. Beaver ass. Damn it. It's so good though. Okay, focus. Go wild, meaning go off the beaten path. Stop with the same type of cycles that you're going through, right? You've been going through these different cycles for quite some time. And it's just something that, I mean, are you tired of it yet? Are you tired of it yet? Right? And then if you look at these cycles that you've been going through, are these cycles that you're going through because you're listening to someone outside of your own intuition? Intuition will guide you in ways that you don't always understand. Like, you don't always understand it. It doesn't always make sense. But at the end of the day, after the event, in hindsight, you see clearly 2020 vision. You see very, very clearly exactly why soul has guided you in the way that it has. Most people, they don't have 2020 vision of what you need to do. That includes the version of you that exists in a space of tremendous fear, right? Avoidance. Like, oh my gosh. What was it that I was tripping off of? Oh, Oh, I remember. So I done fucked myself up the other day. I'm serious. I done fucked myself up the other day. Like really, really, really deep in my thoughts. And I was really just internally, I died internally. And y'all might be like, what off of that? So the conversation that I had in front of you guys in a previous live stream, I decided to revisit a course that I had already audited back in like, I think 2019 or something like that. And I audited it back then without any intention of earning the certificate. I just wanted personal enrichment. And so this time around, Soul is telling me I need to redo that course and actually earn the certificate, which ups the ante for me. It triggers me into a space of like, achieve, achieve, achieve. And because I'm fucking intense. I'm intense. So I go ahead and I sign up for the program again. When I looked at it as I was considering signing up, the start date was September 23rd, and that like resonated in my head. And I was totally like, oh, that's a sign. That's a sign. This is something that I need to do. I need to do the certificate. And so I did. I signed up for it. And the other day I began the course. It is that neuroscience course that's hosted by Harvard. And it had me so fucked up in my head because I was trying to rush through it and just finish the entire course, a 16-week or something like that course in one night. That was the goal. Like, I'm going to zip through this. I'm going to have my fucking certificate. And then I want to do a couple other courses, get those certificates, and just like, bada bing, bada boom, girl, we got this. But we didn't have it because these crazy ass motherfuckers, whoever, that professor, what the fuck is wrong with you that you ask questions this way? That you structure an online program in this. I got 4 questions wrong. And that fucking killed me. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Like, that killed me. It killed me. Because what the fuck? Do I not understand this? Oh my God. And I had to chant for like 45 minutes or so. I am not stupid. I am not stupid. I am not dumb. I am a smart person. Because that fucked with me. And then I had to step away from it because I needed to gain clarity as to what exactly is happening here. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to finish the whole program tonight. I need to reassess where my psychology is right now. And as I was doing that as another form of avoidance, I went ahead because I'm fucking crazy when I'm taking a course, like a whole nother level of what the fuck. Not only do I download every single video, I download the transcript for every single video so that I could cross reference it for the notes that I'm taking as I'm watching the videos. And the notes are chef's kiss. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And everything is cataloged and organized in a way that's just, bitch, I'm going to teach this class one day. That's the degree of like, you know what I'm saying? And I decided to go ahead and eat my feelings and have a big ass bowl of chicken bone broth with some glass noodles, heavy on the ginger because I'm inflaming my own emotions and I needed to correct that. And broccoli because girl, I'm filling up with shit. I'm saying this emotional shit needs to get pushed out. And broccoli does that for me. It is my friend. And so that I ate all of that, a big ass bowl. And as I was eating, I was like, these fucking bitches, like almost crying into my soup. And then I was like, I'm just going to redo my notes. And then I realized I had all this information on my notes and I wasn't even looking at my notes. I was trying to rush through the whole program. At which point I was like, I give up. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I realized, holy shit, I still have fucking issues with perfectionism. I thought I had addressed my perfectionism sufficiently. And all I had done was elevate in my ability to avoid like a right? This avoidance of the very things I need to be immersed in to show me exactly where I'm at within my psychology. So, needless to say, I took yesterday off and I was like, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm finishing this. I'm getting all of the certificates. And you know what? Fuck the whole course. You're not going to play with my emotions like this. I'm highly capable. I will do this shit. And the stress suppressed my immune system. So I got an eye infection. It's okay. It's okay. I need to be able to see clearly the ways in which toxicity still lives inside me. Trying so hard to understand the ways in which my own decisions, my own avoidance, it decreases the level of intensity that I can show up for myself, right? How have you avoided the things you need to address? What have you done? Have you gotten really, really good at avoidance? I know I have. I know I have. And that needs to be corrected. That cannot be allowed to continue to exist inside me unrecognized. It can't. It can't be allowed. Not when I'm preparing myself to reach another level of existence. I'm not here to stagnate. And no, I don't need to fully understand everything before I can allow myself to submit to the very process that I'm now cognitive that I am in, right? So, trying so hard to understand. Maybe part of what you're trying to understand is why you even have to go through the experiences that you're going through. Because you didn't ask for this, you didn't invoke it, you didn't call it to you. You know, soul doesn't care that you didn't call this to you. Soul doesn't care that you want a break, right? It doesn't. It cares about the things that matter. It cares about your growth. It cares about the trajectory of your life. It cares about you continuing to experience the levels of um intense adversity that will be the impetus for exponential growth. Exponential growth. And I'm realizing, like, for me personally, not only am I going to complete the entire neuroscience series because it's an entire series, I'm also going to go ahead and include a lot of the anatomy, physiology, microbiology, um, biochemistry. I'm going to get certificates in all those things so that I can soothe my own insecurities of I can't be publicly witnessed to the degree that I need to be and be recognized to the degree that I need to be, because what if this like proverbial moment of challenging me to see the gravity of the work that I do, right? What if one day someone with all the letters after their name who specializes in one of the fields that I'm speaking on, because it's a I merge quite a few different um schools of thought, right? That's the basis of the work that I do. What if someone one day chooses to challenge me publicly and say, you have no authority to speak on this subject. What makes you think you can talk about this? Well, ask fucking Harvard. That's who. Ask Harvard what I did. That's who the fuck tells me I can talk about this shit. And then carry forward. Just keep going forward. So now my understanding is shifting, right? Like literally in this moment you're witnessing the shifting of my understanding of why I needed to slowly die inside 4 times, 4 fucking times in one night. Who asks questions on topics you haven't taught only to give me the fucking answer after I submit my question? Okay, girl, you can't have 100% because they're trying to challenge you. That's let that shit go. So, what I'm realizing right now, what I'm being instructed to do is rise to the challenge. What is the challenge? My insecurities. So, how does that factor in? Well, my insecurities are the very thing that prevents me from really opening myself to receiving the next part. So, it's time. It's time for me to comply with educational systems to the minimum degree of compliance so that I can speak openly and know that regardless of what you say, I have a right to speak on this. I have the basis to speak on this. No, I don't need to get a doctorate degree in any specific um, profession or field of expertise. I don't. Because really, just because someone else needed that degree of intense training and programming. I'm a quantum learner. I don't learn like other people. You can teach me the basics and I can make that quantum jump and understand the complexity. So, as long as I understand, genuinely understand the organic vernacular of that specific specialized field of knowledge, I can hold my own in any environment. And that's what I need to work on. My confidence in my working knowledge of any given field of specialized learning. That's all I'm working on. My confidence. I know this information. I know this information. What information do you already know, but you don't credit yourself with knowing it? I completed the whole program in 2019 for personal enrichment. What is so different now? Well, because now it counts for something in my eyes. Because now I'm being challenged to earn something in my eyes. See, when you begin to realize that your understanding is based in validating your worth based on how other people will receive you because of your lack of understanding or your propensity to understand, you begin to realize you're not even living for yourself. And in this moment, I'm realizing the reason this carries such a depth to it is this is the start of me living for myself, validating myself in a way that cannot be invalidated by other people. It can't. It can't. So now it carries with it a very heavy weight. Well, that's okay though, because then it allows me to enter into a space of this point of realization where, baby boo, my shoulders were carrying that weight already. They were designed to carry that weight and then some. So this is whatever you're going through, then you're struggling to understand. You're struggling so hard to understand. You were designed to go through this, to overcome it, to wield the power that you cultivate as you go through it, right? So, secret, there's something that is being presented to you, and it's probably information that you should not be privy to. It, you know, we're not supposed to know everything in advance. And sometimes knowing things in advance is what messes you up. It alters the course of your journey, your learning, right? So, whatever you're going through, maybe it's time for you to just be fully immersed in that. There are tests that I'm aware have been being run. These are tests that are being run by Soul, and they've been being run for I want to say like a few weeks already. And as the tests are run, what ends up happening is you are invited by Soul to select options that you're going to need to decide, is this the best thing for you? Is this really what you need to do? I would not want to make a mistake on that. I would not want to be presented with that invitation and then unknowingly choose to repeat the same cycle. Because when you unknowingly choose to repeat the same cycle, typically the intensity of the program increases because your awareness of how you made missteps the previous time, it intensifies your perception of what you're going through. Book of Shadows, right? So, Book of Shadows, it's this thing of like, these are details that you hide from yourself. Book of Shadows. Most people are afraid of shadow. Most people are. So you're hiding this from yourself. Ooh, this is telling me that for some of you, you're at risk of repeating a cycle of self-sabotage. And you are willingly um you're willingly setting yourself up to sabotage some major progress that you're making. You have to be careful about existing in environments that make you feel comfortable repeating cycles that flare up ego-based decisions, right? I think this is primarily the reason why I keep to myself most of the time. Um, I don't share with most people a lot of the things that I'm ruminating, the things that I'm currently experiencing, the ways in which life is challenging me to show up in a from a different angle so that I could see a different perspective of an event that has the potential to catapult me forward or drop kick me back into the same space of stagnation. Right. Like even earlier today, I had a reality check for myself. I needed one. I believe I needed that. And once I came to the realization, I was quick to correct myself and be like, you know what? Let me shut the fuck up. Let me shut the fuck up because I can see things with clarity, the trajectory of certain things, right? Certain actions, decisions. I can see with fucking extreme clarity for other people. For myself, it's often distorted by my own fear and doubt. But for other people, I can see clearly. But see, I'm not allowed to interfere with other people's process, with their journey. And apparently I took accepted the invitation to sabotage my growth by then, you know, extending information that I should have just like shut myself up about. Like just shh, shh. Not even one finger, two fingers. Shoosh, shoosh, right? Because really, um, it's not okay for me to extend information it's an unsolicited thing. It's unsolicited. Like, uh, no, no, no. Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. And that's what I did. And so when I came to that realization, I corrected myself because as I do that, had that convo gone a different way, I probably would have immersed myself into some really deep fucked off shit. And then that triggers another cycle of all kind of just intense personal stuff that will greatly affect me, right? Because of the fact that then it's like I'm giving soul the green light to initiate more lessons that invite me to make more missteps and further disregard what I've already learned over the course of several years. You got to be careful during this period. Not be careful because there's things you need to be afraid of, but be careful about not paying attention to what soul is trying to encourage you to revisit. Sometimes we have to revisit things momentarily just to remember what we've learned. I had to revisit that momentarily and like, you nope. Like layer upon layer of shut the fuck up, girl. Shut the fuck up. Don't interfere. Do not play God. Don't do none of that shit. Because soul didn't tell me to communicate anything. I saw something and I was like, oh no. Right? No. There's a difference when soul tells me, hey, reach out to this person, let them know because they need to prepare for this or they need to take the steps to avoid it. Huge difference. Huge difference. If you can recognize when you are acting out of pocket for what soul is trying to do for you can reach a place of fulfillment. You can finish off this cycle. You can allow yourself to move forward to reach higher levels of awareness of yourself, your journey, what you're needing to do, and be done with that. Just be done with that, right? If you don't, what ends up happening is by spring, things will very much be upside down. It will very much be upside down. And really, it comes from spaces that you've allowed to fester within yourself. It's not about blame, it's about recognition of why this process was initiated and was able to be sustained to the degree that it affected you in your journey, right? Guardian, you have to be very, very careful about the people who you have nominated to be a guardian for you, right? Like looking over different scenarios, you have to remember, well, you can love someone all you want, but if they're not in resonance with where soul is taking you, their advice is not applicable to you and your circumstance. It's upside down ethos. They don't have the same mindset because they don't have the same destined path, right? It would be like years ago when I was going to move my mother to Colorado. I had decided, my family and I decided we were going to return to Colorado. I wanted to bring her with me so that I could continue to care for her. She wanted to come. And I had someone in the family who was like going around telling everyone that if I take her out of California, she's going to die because Colorado has snow and it's too cold. And you think we're going to hose her ass off outside in the yard? Is her bedroom going to be in the yard? Like, that don't make no sense. And it got to the point, and they were just so vocal, so vocal, so vocal. And for people who don't know, it sounded logical, right? And I had to just be like, have you ever even gone to Colorado? Like, no, but I know someone who has. I know, but I've lived there for years. So, I mean, did you think we were going to hose mom off with a hose in the yard? Like, you know, um, I'm pretty sure she's going to have her own room in a house with a heater, you know? So it's like you can't take the advice of someone who doesn't know about the path that you're on. You can't. You can't. And it's not to say that for everyone that the person you're being guided by has some type of intentional malicious intent towards you. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that. But why would you go to someone for health advice when they themselves are extremely unhealthy? Why would you get advice for your hair from someone who has extremely fried hair? Why would you take advice regarding herbal supplements from someone who doesn't take herbal supplements? We all have different needs. We all have different biochemistry. We all will react, respond to differently. And if someone doesn't know that, I mean, that's not good. Anyone that's very responsible in their field of expertise knows they need to gather your history first. You need to do an intake form. They need to gather your history and understand some of the existing conditions within your auric field, within your um, physical anatomy, within your physiology, like biochemistry, all of that. They need to know all of these details before they can advise you, even on, generalized information like dosages, frequency of dosing. You can't give information like that. That's hella irresponsible, right? So it's this thing of like, have you been sabotaging your own growth by listening to people who really they might have good intentions, but do they even have space to talk? Do they even have a track record of successfully addressing what you're currently about to experience? Have they successfully addressed that? Right? It's like taking parenting advice from someone who's never had a child. Oh, you have puppies? That's a different species, right? That's not a human child. You might love your fur pet as though it's your child, but that's not a human. That's a different species. You can keep loving your fur baby as though it's your child, but I promise you, it's not the same. It's not the same. I love my Chiwiwi. I love my Chihuahua and my Boston Terrier like they were my children. I carried a baby bag for them. This is before I had children. And when I had children, like, it's not the same, baby boo. It's not the same. They're different species. I love them tremendously. But I promise you, I wouldn't go to jail for my dogs. Back then, I thought I would. I love them like they're my children. No, honey. I'll fucking go to jail for my kids. If need be, I'm willing to. Just probably the only people, my children and my husband, probably the only people I'd be willing to go to jail for. Like, and I would hold my head high. Like, I did what the fuck I did. I did it as a mother. I did it as a wife. I did what the fuck I did. I'm not even going to deny it. I wouldn't do that for my dogs. Right? So then it becomes this thing of, is this a way for you to be recalibrated to understand the only expert in your life is you? You are the only expert that exists. You've been present for every single event that you have ever lived. You have been present internally, whether you wanted to or not, to see how these events have affected your psychology. People don't know how it affects you. They don't realize. They don't know. They're not you. 5 people can experience one singular event at the same time simultaneously. And there will be 5 different ways that event is experienced. 5 children can be born to the same family with the same parents, same genetics, and witnessing the same family events, 96% at 11:11. And you will have 5 different experiences and long-lasting effects. 5 different long-lasting effects. We are all calibrated differently. Okay? So you need to be at the foundation of what it is your soul is building for you right now. I think for many of us, we don't want to be at the foundation in case we're not strong enough to hold it all up. Honey, it's your life. You're the only one that's capable of holding it all up. It needs to be made of you, your emotions, your thoughts, your energy, your intentions, your dreams, all of these different things, trying so hard to understand. The reason you're trying so hard to understand is because you are looking at your life as though you are a stranger to yourself and listening to the very people who are strangers to your internal circumstance as though they are the experts of you. Damn. That's one hell of a process to wrap your mind around. And as you struggle to wrap your mind around that, you're going to struggle to have a big, bold vision of how you will get through this. Sometimes the big, bold vision is simply it's simply rooted in listening to your intuition. Oftentimes, the messages from soul, the intuitive urges don't make sense, again, until after you're done with the experience, until after, right? Until after. Ooh. You've been selected to enroll in higher rates of oscillation. Ooh. That equates to a higher level of dimensional consciousness. The oscillatory rate that you embody, that you project out into your auric field and within your intimate environment, that's what determines your level, you know? I'm being invited to mirror abrasiveness. I want you guys to kind of be cognitive of the process I'm currently in. I'm being invited by soul to mirror abrasiveness. And I have two options: accept the invitation or politely decline. I'm going to politely decline. Card number 44, visions of life beyond death. So it's this thing of recognizing the ways in which we've allowed ourselves to metaphorically die, right? It killed me inside that I went through this and that I went through that. It killed me inside. And I mean, did you really die? No. Visions of life beyond death. Your ability to see that you can transcend the very thing that you think is killing you, is killing your perception of yourself. It's killing your vibe. It's killing your happiness. It's killing this and killing that. There's nothing that's actually dying. We need to maybe redefine what we consider death. Death is the precursor to a new beginning. Endings are the primers for new beginnings. You cannot have a new beginning unless you first end something that's already existing. So, visions of life beyond death, visions of life beyond the ending of the cycle that you've learned to identify as yourself, as your reality. Follow your own rhythm in reverse. Again, this is something that we have really seriously been repeating over and over. You cannot follow the Pied Piper, piped Piper, however this fucking saying goes. However the saying goes, however that goes. When you allow yourself to have your rhythm set by someone else, there's a very high likelihood of energetic injury, emotional injury, psychological injury, oftentimes self-inflicted. What's that tell you? That this whole time, even though you're following someone else, you've been in control of your own trajectory. You've been in control of your own process, trying so hard to understand how your soul could trust you with the gravity of living. Why is that so hard to understand? I tell you why. Because most likely, you don't believe you're capable of being trusted. You don't believe you are capable of being capable. I would not be surprised if you have struggled to comply with other people if you don't resonate with what they say or demand. And in that refusal to comply, the people who are demanding things of you, from you, by you, they then see it as, oh, you're probably not capable. Actually, no, I'm highly capable. I'm just unwilling. Those are two different things, you know? They're two different things. Just because I'm unwilling does not mean I'm not capable. And when you begin to understand this about yourself, that you are in fact highly capable, you just didn't want to comply with people who, let's be really blunt here, they were fucking assholes to you. You didn't want to comply because they were being an asshole. Maybe if you asked me nicely, maybe if you asked me nicely, I would have fucking answered the question. I would have done the deed. I would have, whatever it was. All you had to do was ask me nicely, treat me with some dignity. And then maybe I would have complied. But you know what? Fuck you and your request. That's oftentimes how I handle abrasiveness. You want more information, but you're going to be a dick about it? Well, fuck you. Figure it out yourself. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to kiss my ass, but if you're going to communicate in an abrasive manner and interlace that abrasiveness with implied or flat out communication intended to degrade me in some way, you get two fingers. You can choose which one you want to spin on. Choose which one you want to spin on, right? Like, no, fuck that. No. And then, of course, Those are oftentimes the very people who will be like, "Oh, you're not answering because you don't know." No, I'm not answering because you're a dick. That's why. I remember one time years ago, I have this friend on Facebook who has a poke injured um, child. And, they had made a post on their page speaking about the efficacy and safety of certain medical practices. And I'm just like, everyone has a right to believe what they believe regarding specific medical things. Whatever, I don't need to get involved. But then, like, I saw this person commenting and they were very derogatory. Just because you're smart does not mean you get a pass to be an asshole. Because guess what? I'm smart too. And I'm a fucking troll. Back then I was. Now I'm going to mind fuck your ass. So that was my logic back then, right? And so I engaged this person in discourse, and the person very happily, very, very happily, um, welcomed it. And they're like, I can debate anything. Okay, let's debate the efficacy of specific medical practices for the high risk neonate. I mean, you're smart, right? For example, the systematic overuse of specific ointments across a child's eyes at birth when the mother indicates that they are in a long-term monogamous relationship. That could affect the APGAR score. In addition, when you use specific chemicals to induce labor unnecessarily, and you have extreme medical interventions that again are unnecessary due to the fact that the child is not in actual distress, that also affects the APGAR score. What say you on that? And he was like, "Well, no, I don't know about neonates." Oh, really? But you said you could debate anything. Well, no, I mean, talk to me about something that I know about. Did you know you're a dick? Did you know that you're a dick? I mean, you should know that by now. You should know that by now. I mean, I'm assuming this is not the first time people have reacted to you in this way. I'm assuming. That's my assumption. I mean, you're engaging and degrading my Facebook friend based on her awareness of specific effects on her own child, detrimental effects to his growth, development, milestones, all of these things. She witnesses firsthand. She witnessed the regression of the progress after specific things were done. All right, let's talk about MTHFR, multi-gene mutation. Let's talk about synergistic toxicity. Let's talk about blood-brain barrier and how certain specifically charged ions cross that barrier. Oh, that's not your specialty. You just like to argue. And then, of course, because again, back then I was a troll. What I did was I reactivated one of my troll accounts. And so now it seemed like, well, I reactivated two of them. If we're going to be honest, let's be really honest. I reactivated two of them. And of course, I have this weird capacity to be able to change the candor with which I communicate. And so now it seemed like three different individuals were arguing the same point, and he felt bullied. And my friend knew, and she's just like cracking up. And I was like, girl, is this your friend? Is this like a family? Who is this person to you? And I assume as soon as I privately message that question, who is this person to you? Are they important? Is it okay if I get disrespectful? She's just like, this is just someone on Facebook. Tag me in, boo. Tag me in. At which point I tagged in several of my other personalities. You see, it's up to you how you're going to react to the things that you need to react to or not react to. It's up to you. A reaction is a trigger. A trigger, just like with any pew-pews, should not be left out in the open for people to be accessing. If you have pew pews in your home, that needs to be locked away with a biometric lock. That needs to be put away. Why you leave all your triggers out for the world to like what? And then you're like, "Oh, but I'm triggered." Okay, why you leave that out? Why you leave that out? It's not about blame, it's about recognizing. These are things you need to put away until they're properly addressed. And if you leave it out, there are people who are predatory in nature. When they see that, at heart, I'm a button pusher. You show me you have buttons, I'm gonna push all of them. I've learned to stop doing that. I've learned to stop doing that. There are no troll accounts that exist for me. They're all deactivated. I've learned to stop because really the whole troll cycle that I was living in was just like, you know what? Let me embrace my toxicity. I'm having a shitty day. You a shitty person, we gonna have shitty day together. I'm gonna laugh at your expense. That's fucked up. I don't want to be like that. So I had to understand that came from a space of misery and misery wanting company. When you recognize why you react or respond in the way that you do, you can then empower yourself very deeply to address the root causation and actually make progress in your healing journey. I still have a lot to heal within me. Queen of Hearts. Let me put this on the screen. Queen of Hearts says, sometimes their higher self is asking for a whipping. So my logic at the time, my logic at the time was something akin to a quote from Genghis Khan, the Khan of all Khans. um, you must have done some really fucked up things for your soul to bring you across my path, knowing I'm gonna hand your ass back to you after I paddle you first with words, not physically. It's gonna fuck up your emotions and get you real fractured within yourself. Because guess what? Not only am I Piscean, and if I choose to enter into a space of toxicity, it's gonna be toxic like you never even fucking believed I could reach. Secondly, I'm Aquarius cusp, baby. The way I can harness words, ooh, I circumcise you with my words. I'm saying, you want to show up like, it's a pissing contest? I'll circumcise you with my words. Surgical precision. Just the excess skin. Forever affecting your ability to experience pleasure at the highest degree. I'm saying, did you want a free circumcision? Verbal circumcision. Yeah? Okay. No, behave yourself, because then you know what happens? Your soul chooses to not cross your path with my own. And what? Okay. These people need to fucking stop with their attempts to fish into my PayPal. They need to stop. They need to stop. All right. Every journey starts with a single step, but here again, soul is snitching you out. What is it saying? What is it saying? It's saying that you're allowing your fear to go ahead and prevent you from moving in the ways that you need to move. So what needs to happen? What needs to happen? Ah. This is not good. You can make this happen. You can shift this. This is what the cards are telling me, that you will shift this, but you need to be aware of certain things. Okay. You need to be aware of certain things. So, power of attraction in reverse. What this is telling me is that you are thinking a person is your mirror when really all they are mirroring is the most toxic parts of you. Right? I don't hang around people who are toxic anymore. like people who like to troll and, all of that. Like, that's not funny to me. It's not entertaining to me at this point. I have more productive things that I need to use my time on. And so I know for a fact that I no longer have toxic mirrors that encourage me to continue dabbling in my toxicity, right? Playing with these parts of myself that really are just interested in entertaining itself at the expense of someone else's sense of self. That's not okay. That's not okay. So instead, I've chosen to kind of just primarily make decisions on my own, right? A lot of the things that I go through, experience, need to decide upon whether I understand it or not. I tend to not share with anyone else. First, because I respect the friends that I have. I value them so much, and I don't want to treat the sanctuary they've created for me as a dumping ground, right? I don't ever really want to be a source of you having a shitty day because I just word vomited everything. And now, because you care about me, you're having a shitty day because you're worried. And, I don't like that. But I'm also learning, and this is an important part, that for some people, that's quite possibly the greatest honor you could give them, is allowing them to be part of such an intimate process and trusting them to be able to powerfully help you guide yourself, right? Where they're simply assisting in your process. They're not taking over. They're not being given the reins. None of that. They're simply assisting, and they have the capacity, the integrity to assist. So it's finding the beautiful line that you ice skate through. You just glide. You're supposed to glide through this. It doesn't have to be like you pushing um, a car with a carburetor. I've noticed that cars that still have carburetors have a tendency to have actual steel stamped um, bodies. Their quality. They have the ability to withstand, to really go the distance, to carry heavy loads, right? And there are people who are in your life that have a steel stamped body, right? Like for me, one of the benchmarks of knowing someone has a proper place in my life is, extending that analogy, that car analogy. They run on diesel rather than gas. Why? Why? Oh, because diesel is biofuel, blah, 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 blah. No, no, none of that. Typically, diesel fuel is a fuel that's burned for vehicles that are created to work like a motherfucker, right? I've lived in RV life for several years. Diesels are pushers. They push out horsepower, they push out torque. They can drag heavy fucking things behind them uphill and just keep choo chooing. Whereas a gas, you better turn your hazards on. You better make sure that you haven't crossed that gross weight line, because that's gonna be fucked. You better not go past a certain degree of grade of incline, because that's not going to end up well either. Right. And why can diesel vehicles do this? Where their chassis is built to pull. They have a much heavier, more supported frame, because again, they're built to do work. And it's not that I just want to keep people around me because they're built to do work. It's that in recognizing they are the diesels, they are the ones who have the capacity to carry massive loads. Knowing this about someone tells me, you know, letting you in It's really not so dangerous for you. You've handled life beautifully. You've been through some shit yourself. You know how to carry yourself. You know how to handle yourself. Like, I don't have to be scared of, like, am I going to get you infected by something parasitic because of my proximity to you? No, the very few people in my life, like very, very few, right? Less than a handful. I don't ever have to worry about me and my circumstance breaching them because they diesel as fuck. They've been through some shit. They are powerful enough to simply sit with me. Just sit with me and let me know when I'm tripping or when, you know what? I just need someone to hear me, to see me in ways I'm not willing to show myself to the public. I'm not as open a book as people assume. I'm just not. I'm very private in my life. Very, very private. There are many things that go on in the background that I don't share on live streams. And oftentimes, the things I'm willing to share are things that I've gone through 10, 15, 20 years ago. You know, I've had time to process, I've had time to address the wounds sufficiently. They're still in the process of healing, but they can no longer be used to enter my space, to breach me, to infiltrate and corrupt my integrity, right? We have to make sure that for this, whoever this is, this upside down mirror of you, this person who mirrors toxic parts of yourself, and therefore their advice and their effect on your life will probably also be toxic. You don't have to play a sacred fool for them and hold on to things that maybe should kind of be let go, but at least loosen the grip. Ooh, Marlene is a shit talker sometimes. Marlene says, let them know it's not your grip. They have a grip on you. Ooh. I think it's important to encourage all of you to begin assessing how much influence another person has over you. I should not have that type of influence on you. I am honored to have um, the ability to inspire your thoughts so that you can take things further. But I should not have that type of influence on you where I'm dictating to you how to think, how to live, how to feel. No, no, no. No, no, no. You have to always exercise the highest degree of sovereignty that you are capable of exercising in any given circumstance of your life. Okay? That's really important. But Emmy, you have integrity. Yeah, that's why I'm telling you this. That nobody should ever have this kind of grip on you. Emmy, you would never lie. Okay, yeah, that's true. But what if I get breached and I don't know? People think I'm a tarot card reader. I am not a tarot card reader. I use tarot cards and oracle cards to focus my ADHD. I'm not channeling anything else. This is messages directly from my soul that are coming out of my mouth. And the cards keep me focused. Now, what people tend to not understand, my real job, I recode standing scalar waves. I'm a parasitic extractor. I'm pioneering that field. So, what does that mean? I'm exposed to demonic shit day in and day out. Why do you think every live stream there's shit trying, people trying? If I'm ever breached, I do not go live. I address it. If my breach affects anyone in the audience, I am very open, very transparent. I do broad spectrum work to make sure everyone who was exposed to that is shielded, all of that pulled out if anything got in. I'm very careful. But again, what if the one time you take my word as though it's the word of God is the one time I'm breached and I don't know yet? You are responsible for your life. You are responsible for your field, for your decisions, for the outcomes you have to live through because of those decisions. Allow me to inspire you to think deeper, but never take any of my opinions, any of my words as the absolute truth. These are opinions, these are perceptions. This needs to be applied broad spectrum through your life. It must. It must. Because when you do this, when you allow someone else to make the decisions for you, because again, you're playing this upside down sacred fool for the person. You don't want to offend them by having a different opinion, by choosing a different option. If something hasn't been able to breach you because you have that natural protection and you listen to that person because you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want to be disrespectful, right? You know what would happen? Everything demonic that's trying to enter you but cannot, it will enter them and use them to speak to you and guide you into the very compromised situations that will allow them to breach you. Remember, I'm not a tarot card reader. I am highly intuitive. And I use my own intuition. That's why my readings are called ClairTarots. I'm using tarot cards to harness my intuition. My true specialty is demonology. I'm an exorcist. I do exorcisms pretty much every day. I'm very aware of their modus operandi. If they can't breach you, they'll breach someone they can breach that has access to you. And they will all focus on that one person. That is a point of vulnerability. That is a point of exploitation. That is a guaranteed entry into your field. Now, if you need a parasitic extraction, there you go. There's a QR code. Go ahead and click on that. You can book it through that QR code, or you can click on the link in the comments. And that's how you get a parasitic extraction from me. Go ahead. I am now at a point where it's like I stay in my lane. I will not initiate things that are unsolicited. I will allow myself to recognize where I'm at within my psychology, within my emotions. I'll go ahead and do that. I will go ahead and just breathe. I will not allow my integrity filled intentions to encourage me and distort my perception to the degree that I'm now interfering with your journey. No, no, thank you. Allow everything to shift in the way it's needing to shift. Okay. What is needing to shift? The way you keep repeating these things. You're in cycles over and over and over. Hi, Valvez. You're literally the only person that watches me on Twitch. So, like, I feel like I have to acknowledge you at the very least. um, so this is something that keeps repeating. It's like you're ready, but you're waiting for someone to form on your behalf these profound things that really they have no business doing, because it's your life, it's your journey. Only you can create it. Only you can create it. And I think these realizations that people are coming to, listening to this live stream specifically, it's helping you to identify the patterns and properly categorize them, right? You need to categorize things in your life to understand. It requires you to exercise some degree of judgment. This teaching that you cannot be judgmental is an absolute bullshit teaching designed to ensnare you. I said what I said. I did not hesitate at all. Oh my God, that means teaching people to be judgmental. I mean, what did you think you were doing when you were using discernment. Judgment is a necessary component of discernment. You need to be able to properly label a person in order to then determine if that person is healthy for you or not. You see, judging is not the same as condemning. Condemning is when you take that judgment and you use that judgment, whether distorted or not, you use that judgment to then be negative about a person. Convince yourself that person is not worth your time, that person is horrible, that person is beneath you, below you. You're condemning them, right? Those are two different things. Judgment is a very necessary component. You need to be able to judge when someone is safe, when someone has a proper place in your life because they continue to inspire you to reach higher and simultaneously deeper depths of understanding yourself in your journey, right? So, influence, I think, at least for some of you, the influence that someone has on you, it's like you think that whoever this is holds you tenderly as though you are a bird of peace. You are that dove, right? You bring peace into their life and this and that. Uh, It's upside down. So I'm assuming either the person is an upside down cycle themselves, which causes them to give very skewed, non beneficial advice, or they've just always been toxic and it's time for you to know. One of those two things. And that's not going to apply to everyone. You're going to have to really use discernment of whether or not it applies to you, that specific message. Okay. So, dependability. It's time for you to allow yourself to exist in spaces where the people who you trust, you can depend on them to be honest and balanced in their honesty, right? So if a person is very toxic, the way they live is toxic, the way they see things is toxic, it's very ego based. Um, they can still give you advice and love you, but their perception is going to be very skewed. They're going to encourage you to decide things based on what will preserve your ego. And if your ego is out of control, why do you want to preserve that state? You shouldn't. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be looked at and properly addressed. Ego doesn't have to be killed or caged. It just needs to know its proper place. It needs to be balanced. Okay. So fragments of you are beginning to see, right? Beginning to see what you're dealing with, the ways in which what you're dealing with is affecting you. That's important. But also at the same time, it's like you don't really want to because you're afraid of what you'll see about yourself. Your identity is partially covered, right? Enough to see, not enough to identify. That's a start, but that's not the end goal. Okay? Consistency. Either this card can either mean you are consistent in listening to the wrong thing, or you are not consistent in loving yourself enough to exercise sovereignty consistently. Okay. And that's a very specific message. So use your discernment to see if that applies to you. I'm going to have to get going soon. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So, yep. This entire deck really is just a reiteration of everything I said. Um, you lack compassion for yourself. You're not communicating with yourself because you're listening to someone else. Someone else is dictating your life right now. You have a cosmic connection that's needing to be explored, a connection between the self and the soul. That means you need to listen to yourself more. You don't realize how limitless you are because, again, you're listening, communicating with a person who doesn't understand your limitless nature. Doesn't mean they're intentionally malignant. It means they don't understand because that is not the same trajectory they're on. It's a very unbalanced situation. Their lack of balance within their life is further triggering and exacerbating your own lack of balance that you have right now. This is not a strong thing to do. Depending on others who are weak within their unbalanced ego is not going to give you strength. Trauma bonding, being toxic together, is not going to give you strength. It's going to perpetuate the cycles of toxicity. I don't know that you have to cut this person out, but I do strongly feel that for those this resonates with, this person needs to be put in their proper place, which is nowhere near the decision making seat. Only you should have that seat. And it's causing a very upside down effect in your day-to-day life, and it's dimming your shine. So, with that, this is someone who has an inability to persevere, right? They're keeping you confined in a space and keeping you in a childlike state. I don't know. Maybe it fuels them somehow. I don't know. I want to be careful about taking it all the way there where it's like, oh, they're feeding off of you. I don't know that they're intentionally feeding off of you. It does eventually feed from you. Their insecurities are fed by you. But I don't know that they're a bad person. But just because they're not a bad person does not mean they're healthy for you. So these are decisions. I don't know which way you have to go. You have to make decisions for yourself. And then potential. Whatever this is, it lacks potential. The potential you're trying to tap into belongs to you. And it's like you're trying to, for some of you, you're trying to use some type of intercessor, right? Like someone has to tell you what to do. That's a really bad circumstance to allow because, again, with my knowledge of parasitic things, that's a surefire way to offer someone up as a Trojan to you in your life. They will use that person. That's what I see time and time and time again. They will use that person. I think for many of us, we need to be aware of the different processes that we're currently in. It has like layers upon layers of meaning. And the best way to understand the meaning that soul is trying to help you come to terms with is by actually listening and conversing with soul. This whole reading is about encouraging you to reestablish a relationship with your own higher self. Your higher self is always on your side. Higher self has no ego involved. It just doesn't. It's ego is human based. Higher self is not. Especially when you reach the upper levels of higher self. You know, there's levels, layers to your higher self. It has to do with the anchor point and which harmonic universe that anchor point is in. So, you know, trust yourself. Trust yourself to make the decisions. You know, you have what it takes to figure out your life. And with that being said, it took me accepting that fact to allow myself to realize I can live without understanding everything. I can live wholeheartedly and fully present in any circumstance I'm facing without understanding the full gravity. That I am open to receiving the full understanding later on, somewhere else in my journey. Not now, not here, not in this moment where I don't have the emotional and intellectual maturity yet to truly grasp the gravity of what I'm learning now. You see, in kindergarten, you lack the emotional and intellectual maturity to understand the gravity of why you're learning numbers and letters. You don't know yet that that's going to lead to exponential concepts, exponential learning of concepts that you won't understand for many, many, many years, right? You take an average preschooler, kindergartner, and you tell them the alphanumeric knowledge that you are acquiring right now, that you are in the process of cultivating. It's going to lead to you being able to make quantum mechanic computations using unknown variables due to formulas that mathematicians, geniuses have left us with. Tell that to a kindergartner. It's not going to mean anything. They're going to ask you if it's snack time, if they can play with their toys, you know, and that's okay. That's where they're at. You don't condemn a freaking child for being a child, right? Why would you condemn yourself for being exactly where you are destined to be right now? At the level of understanding and awareness that is necessary for right now. You are consistently growing. You are consistently shifting and changing. Even the world does not stand still. The tectonic plates are in constant flux. There is constant friction. There is constant moving and shifting going on. The only thing that ever really completely stands still is someone who's no longer living and has been unnaturally preserved, right? Why are you half naked? What? They're still in the dishwasher? My husband just went up to the door. He's getting sports recovery done right now. He's glistening with coconut oil. He's like, "Where's the cups?" They're doing cupping. Yeah. I cannot. Oh my God, you guys. I feel so much more like myself today than I've felt in so long. And it was this thing of realizing the amount of tension that I have in my traps and I carry in my deltoids because I haven't been allowing myself to adjust the way that I carry the weights, the weight of the gravity of what I understand about myself, knowing that more weight is going to be applied. And that won't be applied until I'm ready, until I've cultivated an increased amount of strength, right? So I'll I'll show you this. I'll show you this. So that, right? All across my back, right? But here is the most intense suction. And here too. That's the most purple. Why? I was looking at my body in the mirror this morning and this aha moment, I have insisted on not walking forward in life, in standing exactly where I am, and instead pulling to me, right? Pulling to me the things that I need rather than simply walking forward and scooping it up. Using proper mechanics involving my entire body so that the weight is properly distributed. I need to allow movement. I need to allow movement. I don't need to remain in a circle of protection. I am protected everywhere I go, everything I do. I am allowed to move through my life and I need to begin moving through it. Not forcing, pulling, dragging. That's how you injure yourself. And boy, oh boy, I was at the cusp of injury. But hold on. Oh, you can't see it. Kind of. You can see my rear delt just a little bit, just a little bit. I'm coming to a lot of different realizations about the different processes I'm in and how I've only been partially respecting what soul is asking me to do, partially listening, partially aware. I want to show you a picture I took at the gym. Let me send this to myself. Let me airdrop it. I'm going to show you. And the reason I want to show you this is because careless. As I've developed my strength and my awareness of that strength, I've become careless in the way I am wielding it. Right? So look at this. Here. Bitches. You're probably like, what are you doing? Working on my pimp slap. Working on my pimp slap, like working on how to spank that ass for misbehaved people. Right? The caps. Ugh. Ugh. And then the development of the pectorals. Bitch. But here's the thing. Again, the reality, I've been very irresponsibly harnessing my power. How? I'm not giving myself the proper time to recover. I'm not taking care of myself and my body in the way that I really have been needing to. I've been focusing strictly on the physical without allowing myself to consider the way the physical is a roadmap to the emotional, to the energetic, to the spiritual, to all of that. And as I was worked on, I felt the releasing of certain things and the understanding and the awareness has been profound. It's really become a very cathartic, very, very cathartic process. I'm very grateful for my body worker. Very gifted, very well trained, and has really helped me. Really, really, really helped me to begin understanding how much more gentle I need to be with myself. I'm not gentle enough. Let me zoom this in. Bitch! Shit! Don't make me pimp slap you. Okay, let me stop. I gotta get going. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. And I'll see you guys again very soon. I got